All right. Well, welcome to the RANCast, November 3rd. I'm David Winters, filling in this week. I'm joined by regulars Mike, Stefan, aka Punisher. We've got Mac, Anthony here, and Roger joining us this week. And I think we've got some exciting topics to talk about, right? From
Oh, it's always exciting, unless it's last week.
submitted by the
Last
public,
week was
even.
pretty-
Is that the case?
The what now?
We've got some questions or comments from the public this week. Is that true?
Well, what is people are actually starting to post more questions in the lounge, which is always good. Everyone's really hesitant to discuss. You have to get a couple comments in there before people really start chatting.
Oh, I could come up with some viewer questions.
They weren't directed towards us, but we're hijacking them.
We're hijacking them because it's within our terrain.
Got it.
But they're good.
Since Mike isn't
They're good discussion.
anyway. He has the power to do that, being a mod.
It's true. It's true. I wear some pants in that sub, so I can pull things,
They're probably like capris, though.
Hey, very masculine, pretty surely, right? Camel.
There was a good question that so Zurin P said, looking for some advice. I love drawing, but I slack off too much and take long breaks from drawing. But in consequence for stopping to draw for at least a week, whenever I try to go back to draw, I start feeling like I have forgotten the basics, and I simply can't draw at all. Everything I draw in this condition just feels so wrong. This really is not a nice feeling and can sometimes affect my mood negatively. Have you ever gone through this? What do or would you do to get over this? Which is interesting. It's true because with art, it's kind of like riding a bike, but you get sloppy. You do get rusty with art if you stop for a while.
Yeah, you do.
And it's got to be that physical aspect of it. There's like a practice technique, and if you don't do it for a long time, riding a bike's one thing, and I think art's kind of like that. Like you remember the general stuff, but it's more like if you knew how to do tricks on your bike, and then you waited a year and then went back. You can't do the tricks anymore.
I feel like if I'm not paying attention, if I'm just kind of like sketching and goofing off, I'll slip into some old habits, where I'm doing things I don't like, and if I want to really push it, I have to absolutely focus and think everything through, because it's real easy for me to, just put in a stupid eyeball, because that's how I used to do them in 5th grade or whatever, and then I get really frustrated. But to me, it does take a lot of concentration, or even if I'm drawing every day, I still have to do that.
Yeah.
About it. But I think drawing daily is super important if you want to improve, or whatever your medium is. Maybe it's not drawing, painting, whatever.
Or just keep your chops up, Yeah.
Yeah.
Not necessarily improve, but not suck. I don't know. I've just recently come back from taking a break, and what I did was something. When you come back from taking a long break, do a medium that you don't know how to do. Explore a new medium. That way, if it looks like shit, it's like you're brand new at this anyway. Like it's a new.
Right.
You have
a scapegoat.
Yeah, exactly, and you won't feel so shitty about being rusty, and it'll get you back into the sort of act of making art, and you'll sort of get used to having a brush in your hand again, or a pen, or whatever, and your brain will just start being in that mode again, and it's a good way to sort of get into the mode, and not have to look at shitty art that you made when you were rusty. You can have shitty art made because you don't know what you're doing, and it's a brand new medium.
That's a very good idea, actually. Damn, I should.
Dude, I was like, I didn't make art for like 2 months, and then I was like, I'm gonna do splatter paintings. This is enough. And of course, splatter painting, they look like shit because they're splatter paintings. They're not supposed to look very good or controlled, but They got to be like, yeah, I'm making art, and at the same time be like, shit, but I'm okay with it because it's supposed to, you know.
You're back on the
You
horse.
also managed to find your weird medium. Your latex acrylic enamel that is exterior paint. It's like what the hell is it? That's the everything bagel of paint. What is that shit?
The unicorn star.
You know
You
what?
fucking everlasting gobstopper paint.
Was that like Sherwin-Williams or something? Where did you get that paint?
I just got it at Ace, the hardware store.
Ace, I believe. Oh, I think they're Benjamin Moore.
It is
Benjamin Moore.
Clark and Kensington.
What the hell is that?
I don't know.
Brand or
That's
something.
bullshit.
Fuck them. Dare they?
What are your thoughts back when you've been away from the old pen, stylus, brush for a long time?
I took one long break for like 12 years. And
Holy shit.
Yeah. And that was a little hard to come back from. It took a little while of getting used to stuff on there. And since then, I don't think I've taken more than probably 3 or 4 days off.
Yeah.
So I've stayed on it pretty well. And I think there's 2 parts of this, though. I mean, there's one, it's getting back on the horse on there, and the other one is, not falling off the wagon. How do you keep yourself motivated and keep the practice up? Because it is. If you do it every day, you're going to get better on there. So, but if you want to approach it well, how do you keep doing it every day? A big thing for me has been things like this, where you find a group of people that you can associate with on there, just to, seeing what they're doing. It keeps you interested in it, so that you actually do want to keep doing it. It's something else like, Roger with his drip paintings on there, it's kind of cool, watching him do that on there kind of makes me want to go out and do it. Not that I want to get, a whole bunch of paint and palette and paint knives and stuff like that on there, but, it's certainly something that helps.
The biggest tip I can give, if anybody wants to try drip painting, designate
what?
Designate a pair of drip painting pants.
Yeah, you need your art pants, man.
A shitty pair of pants. And be like, these are going to be my drip pants.
Don't even wear pants. Just get rid of the pants.
Yeah, don't wear pants. Don't wear pants.
Fuck. Who needs pants? Who wears pants anymore? Fuck that shit.
Yeah, pants are stupid.
They're for dumb, stupid people who are being stupid dummies.
What did you actually apply those with, though? And then get back into that a little bit. But did you use like a paint knife, or how did you?
Yeah, actually, I found the palette knife was the one that I liked the best. There's a couple of things like you can try.
Cool.
But that was the one that I stuck with. That was cute.
Have to get a demo of that sometime.
That's another good vote for a new medium. Not only is it a nice way to get back into it, but it also is a fun way to be motivated, because it is exciting to do something different.
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
Especially on Reddit, you don't see hardly anybody. The closest I can get to is like Teacher's Pen with her squiggle art that she gets. But
oh God, I love her. I love her shit so much.
Yeah, it's really fucking good. Oh, so good.
She's always doing new shit. Like now she's into digital.
Yeah, and
it's great
and crazy. It is.
I like it.
Her little acrylic kick that she was going through with it was like everything was so good coming out. It's just like, oh yeah, some shit.
And still so different from it's not like certainly she carved out her own style with everything that she's been trying out, and that's been cool to watch.
Let me see here.
Agreed. Toads agree.
Toads agreed. So toads.
Toads, toads.
And then I got more topics here, but I want to prepare the screen shares for it.
Okay, let's do it.
That's a good way to topicify.
What you got, Brad?
What you got? Love is what I get. Is to remember that. All right, let's see here. So, next topic. They're gonna boot the cast because of my singing. Do you use art to get through tough times, such as art therapy? And if so, what helps you best? Submitted by A Gamer Draws. Which is, I've had this debate with people before. We might have even had this in a previous RANCast. I can't really remember, but it is an interesting topic, and people do sometimes see art as therapy. Be curious to see what everyone's experience is with do you use art to get through a tough time? How does it work for you? Can you make that work for you, etc.?
Would you sum up real quick maybe what people would argue about, or I don't see what the controversy would be?
Well, it's not so much as about controversy, but they talk about been having a rough month, and I'm trying to pick myself up through artwork, looking for ideas. So I think they're looking for ideas and inspiration to use art as a means to help yourself through a hard time in your life, or if your art's rough or you're feeling down, using it to feel better, in other words. Do you ever use it for therapeutic reasons? And if so, what do you do? What would you draw? How do you use art as therapy?
Right. Okay. Got it. I do it every day. I consider it therapy, and that's the primary reason I do it, because I feel like leaving the workplace every day at 6, coming home, taking care of family, and having like 3 hours to myself. If I don't have the 3 hours to myself to create something, even if it's crap, I think I would go insane. I've had other interests or hobbies, and they all kind of rely around creating something, and so that act for me, it really doesn't matter, I guess, what I'm making, but it's I don't know, it feels good. So that's why I consider it like a therapy thing or a mental health kind of thing.
Yeah.
Mine's more of like a stress reliever, but it's I mean it's kind of similar situation, but yeah, I don't think it's really therapeutic for me, but it certainly helps me relax. You know, it's especially if you're doing things like figure and drawing on there, where you get to use like big loose lines and stuff like that, and it's not real. Sometimes when I get like really detailed, realistic stuff on there, you spend so much time clenched, just trying to get all that in there. That usually isn't like the best for relieving stress on there, because that creates its own stress on you. But certainly anything that's like pretty free and loose on there is always really good for things like that.
Interesting indeed. Roger, how about you?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure art is therapy for most people. Like, you make art so you don't have to go to therapy, right? Isn't that?
Maybe, I don't know. Like, how do you approach it to make it therapeutic? Or is it just doing it? Is it just the act of doing it is therapeutic?
The act itself is very, it's sort of, all the things that people tell you are healthy, like whatever, meditating, breathing focus, stuff like that, like stuff you should do to reduce stress, like that. Stuff kind of just happens by itself when you're painting, or when you're zoning out, when you're totally focused on painting something.
Mm-hmm.
You just slow down, breathe, and you don't think about other stuff. Like everything kind of gets pushed out of your brain, and yeah, it just immediately does the thing that everybody says you should do. If when you go to therapy, it's like, oh, you got to find a way to reduce stress. You got to find a way to have an outlet, focus your negative energies into positive things, and
make doilies.
It's just sort of built in. I
don't doubt that some of the details vary from person to person. Some people like what you're talking about, the outlet. Maybe they're making like dark, angry things because they have that dark, angry thing to get out, and it's good for them.
Human centipede Barbies.
Right, human centipede Barbie. It's not my particular angle, but I'm sure that.
I was drawn in when I saw it. I was just like, tell me more.
How do I get
follow? No, it's funny. I don't know. I feel kind of like, I don't know. Like, art can be so stressful. Like I put so much pressure on myself to constantly work on it. Sometimes I feel like I need to find something therapeutic because of art. I'll drive myself crazy over it. Like that's why I don't remember who I was talking to recently where I was saying that I was like trying to get myself to start playing games again. Like I need to start getting
the artist lounge chat.
Yeah, it's like I got to get away from art. Like it's
I gotta relax.
Because I put so much pressure on myself, and then I think the only time it felt therapeutic is either when I'm like completely deeply inspired in something, like this has to happen, and then I get in that zone, or if I'm just goofing off with friends and making dick drawings, which I did mention. It's like, hey, make a dick drawing, like ease the pressure off, do something silly. It sounds completely ridiculous, but every now and then, if you just draw something completely silly, it helps so much. But at the same time, like it's weird. I don't know if I ever go to art to solve an issue of something else, as it is that I need to just use it. I just need to use art because it's the only voice I have to come to terms with an issue. But sometimes it's almost. Do you ever have that happen though, where you have the thing and then it almost makes it like more frustrating because of the stress of trying to manifest the idea into art?
No,
Oh shit.
Works out for me.
I was just run off into the sunset. I'm done.
I'm saying
You don't have punching bags in your studios. You're not kicking holes in walls or anything.
The only time art screws me out is if I make it an obligation. Like I tell someone I'm going to do something and it's impossible.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm like,
Way too much. So many broken promises.
yeah.
Well, F. Maybe I shouldn't have been writing in the comment in that thread. Maybe I was like the last person that should be like writing something in there. They're like, what should I do? I need arts therapeutic. What can I do to help me out? And I'm like, run! As far away as you can!
Go play video
Get a
games.
business degree. Go back to school and do a different thing. It'll kill you.
I'm going to use art as therapy. Listen, get a punching bag.
I do have one, though. I have a punching bag.
Say like that's
But nothing else helps. Everyone's like, I run now, and everyone's like, don't you feel better after a run? And it's like, no, of course not. It hurts. It's like you get tired, you sweat, you're filthy, your legs hurt. It's like, why would you run from things when they're like instinctually you run if like a bear is chasing you? Like, why would you want to do that? It's miserable. Whatever. Anyways, I thought you just do it. I thought you make art because you have to, because like it's like a part of you and you're stuck with it, and it's like aliens. It's inside of you and it's gonna burst out of your stomach and surprise everybody. Like it just happens to you.
Maybe you would be like crazy stressed out if you did art. Maybe this is calm for you.
It could be. I don't know. Well, so be it. So be it indeed.
Yeah,
well,
you get pretty stressed out. I never understood, because I know you like, get pissed off and you destroy your pictures when they turn out. I've never.
Yeah, a little bit.
I can, if something doesn't turn out, I'm like, I just turn the page and just start something new.
I like to pretend it's passion because, like, if it's like in a movie or a book, it's like, oh, the passion, it's so intense and it's like so rad and hot or whatever, and it's not. It's pathetic looking. It's like, what it is like they try to make it look like, oh, the artist is so passionate, but what it's really like is, you remember that old video of, it was from like the 90s, and it's of a guy that gets mad at his computer in the office and he throws the monitor on the floor and storms out, and you just laugh at him. That's what it actually looks like. Yeah, you look like that guy, and that's what I look like in the studio. Like everyone jokes, like I don't know if Mike actually likes making art, you know, but so it's kind of that thing where no, I mean I think it can be therapeutic. I find there's just parts of it. Like I love painting, but I hate stretching canvas. You know, it's like I like oil painting, but I hate those first few steps of blocking the painting in. It's tedious and tough. But I think when you hit that rhythm with the art, I think it's trying to like focus on the parts of the art you like. If there's a part of painting you like, I can only think of examples of what I know, but if I'm doing an oil painting and there's that middle to last area where the things are blocked in, and at that point you're just kind of adding layers and tones, and it's really calm and just very peaceful. Like try to think of what art can you make that would only use those steps. Like pick apart your process and focus on the art that only uses those few steps that you enjoy the most. And it doesn't have to make an image. It doesn't have to be for a larger project, but just stay in those for a bit. And then when you're ready to go back and try the next big thing that's going to change the world, you know, because that's what we're all doing, then that would be it. I don't know. I think I need to work on my own shit though. I think I need to come to terms with some things.
Got some stuff to work through.
I gotta work through some shit, man.
You got some thinking to do.
On air.
But I agree. You know, I'm very similar. You know, I used to do a bunch of like, you know, really try and get as realistic as I could, and I found that process was kind of just frustrating because I'd get sick of a painting if it took me a week, or a picture, you know, if it took me a week to do, you know. So I just got to the point of realizing that, you know, that's my like tolerance for a picture is like 2 hours. So I've tried to adapted my technique and my style on there to something that I can actually do in that 2 hour sitting on there, and then I've become a lot more happy with my progress.
Yeah, that's. Oh boy, gotta take that advice. Gotta take that advice. It's good advice. Okay, actually, and the last topic I had here that was posted that we were looking over was a topic I had posted earlier and then now was revisiting, which was what are the mistakes you make over and over again, and how will you fix them? Pretty much this came up because what was the mistake I had actually made? I made so many recently. Oh, okay. I was going to go back. You know, I was going to do Roger's thing. Like, hey, you know what? I finished kind of a whole group of things. Let's switch up mediums, do something else. And so while, like, back all the way to college and a little after, I was doing these palette knife paintings with acrylic. And it was very loose, and, you know, you'd spend probably 2 hours mixing a palette and then an hour just making a painting. And it felt great and was awesome. I'm like, let's make those again. So I get a board, and the first thing I think is this board's too small. Like, my palette knives are too large, the board's too small. I'm going to hit a hurdle. It's not going to get to where I kind of want it to be. But I didn't listen to that part of my head that knew better. And then the next thing I thought was, there's a couple other palette knives that like would be nice that I don't have. And then I didn't listen to that part of my head. I didn't listen to my own experience. I just thought, whatever, keep it simple. And then the last thing I did is I pick an RGD, and I haven't done RGDs in a while because I've been focused on just a few paintings I've spent probably 80 hours on 2 portraits, and mostly just on one of them that I haven't posted yet. But anyways, so then I find an RGD, and then I'm like, no, this one won't work very well, but I think it's my best option. So it's like there's 3 things already that I know are a problem, that are just like, this will never work. 3 strikes. You already know it's not going to work. And I did it anyways. I spent like 4 hours mixing a palette, working on this painting, and all it ended with was, you know, the usual, like I just threw it away. Like I threw it away, wasted all the paint. And I was so mad because it's the same mistakes I always make where I didn't listen to my instincts. And on top of that, the other mistake I always make is rushing the first steps. Like you want to just dive in so you don't take a calm approach, and then you just pretty much you just like you don't lay a foundation for a painting, and those are the mistakes I always make. Is I always rush some steps, and then I always compromise. I know the materials I should be using for the goal I want, and then but I just go, well, let's see what happens, and what happens is it always ends up sucking, over and over. So obviously I'm going to fix that, but I'm curious what things other people have, or in this case you guys, like what mistake do you make over and over and over again that you can't seem to learn from, but like let's start thinking about how to actually resolve the issue.
For me, it's less like process things, like what you're talking about on there. There's a lot of like fundamental, proportion type stuff on there that I try and rush through and consistently make the same mistakes over. And a lot of times, it's because I'm like sitting on the couch and just sketching on my lap and things like that. And while my paper sitting outright on there, it's got the wrong perspective on there, so I end up like stretching their head too big or doing all this other kinds of crap on there. And it's things I know to watch for, and it's but sometimes I catch it, sometimes I don't. But it's like if I mess it up really bad, but that's when I just kind of just turn the page.
What do you think makes you like miss it though? What would you say is the reason that, like, if you miss those things, what causes it?
Well, it's usually because the perspective that I'm sitting in. It's just I'm trying to do something quick and relaxing, and sit around with with my kids or watching TV, so I can at least spend time with them and stuff like that, instead of bowling away in my bedroom and stuff. So that's usually the biggest thing that starts it anyway, or at least the big attributing factor.
Like the perspective to your paper, like your paper's flat and you're sitting up, or do you mean just like the perspective of the environment?
Yep, no, the perspective that I have, with the paper that I'm working with, just setting up like that. If I had it, like you should have it, up in front of you, straight up and down, and you're looking at and stuff like that. When I do that, I do much better. You get the perspective right, you get the proportions right, and it's a lot easier to line those things up. But it's just when you don't have the right posture and you don't have the right setup on there, you're kind of putting yourself at a disadvantage on there. But in the case that I am in, a disadvantage allows me for other advantages. We're just sitting here with my kids and my family and start doing it on there. So part of it is learning to adjust with that, but one of my other concerns is that I'm going to start adjusting for that when I'm in that perspective, and then when I actually do hold it up right on there, that I'll be over adjusting when I do it that way, and I'm going to end up with these little squished heads all over the place. But fortunately that hasn't happened yet, but I do constantly have the problem where I stretch people out or get it wider at the base and at the top and stuff like that, and little things like that. But I know it is there, and I usually can catch it in the sketch phase, and I can just erase half the picture and just resketch it back out, so it usually isn't too bad. And I've gotten a lot better at catching it, but it's still there. It's like the little gremlin I can't get rid of.
It's amazing how steep the paper, like how steep it actually helps to make it. Like I cut a special board. Well, here I cut a little special kind of custom board to draw on, and it's this board right here, right? And it was never steep enough, so I had to keep adding these little like cases of paint under it to make it steeper to my face, because it was never good enough. Like, and then I still kind of think I should stack more under it to make it actually work. It's such a huge, it makes such a huge difference, and I always underestimate that.
Yeah, and unfortunately, the only easel I have on there is this little like display easel that's got these flimsy little legs and stuff like that. So it's not really good to draw on because it sits there and just wobbles and shakes while you put any pressure against it. So.
Oh, that'd be infuriating.
Yeah. So I don't ever use it for that, but.
I think sort of the route maybe that I took from what you said is the same problem I have, which is like either rushing or not paying attention. and I'll make the same mistakes over and over again. But it is medium specific since I'm always working in watercolor. If I forget to let things dry the right amount, or I let them dry too much, it's a constant problem. And usually I get too eager. It's like, oh, it's dry enough. Let's go in, and then everything like blooms everywhere I didn't want it to. And some of that is just fine, and that's part of dealing with the medium. But most of the time, it's really just patience. Just need to learn to be more patient. I have the same perspective problems. I'm always drawing on my desk here, and my monitor here with my reference or whatever, and I should always be up here, and I never do it until the end. I never, or towards the point of no return anyways, but it is pretty frustrating and something I only do when I'm either rushing or not paying attention, being distracted by things. If I have like a movie, if I'm watching a movie while I'm doing something, oh man, I always mess up. Just too distracting. I need noise or something, so I'll have this like temptation to put a movie on or music, and that usually is a bad idea.
So you usually work in silence.
I have to have noise myself.
So if the music in the movie is distracting, what do you have?
Music is okay. Movies are not, because I don't know. I get into movies and I start watching them.
Yeah, and the story
losing
is
track of what I'm doing. Yeah. A lot of times I'm doing hangouts with people, and there's just chatter in my ears, and that's okay too.
Nah.
I'm probably not a very good listener,
but good for that too.
Yeah, okay, there you go. You don't have to watch it, right? You just listen.
Yeah, you just listen.
So there's just a million mistakes I make constantly over and over and over again, and I mentioned it before when we were talking about getting back into drawing. If I will just stop winging it and actually plan what I'm going to do, plan a piece out, pay attention to each step instead of just finding a random picture and starting sketching and then start painting, without any planning. And then if I would plan more, I would probably not make the mistakes I do. And when I do plan, I see that things usually work out,
Mm-hmm.
I think I get overconfident. I think it's like, I don't need an undersketch or whatever, right?
Yeah, right. Just dive in.
Just get right into it.
Yeah, you see somebody, watch a YouTube video of somebody who's been doing it for 40 years, and they just go like straight into it, and I could do that too. It's so easy.
Well, here's the thing: you can go straight into paint, but like at least with like acrylic and oil. But those first steps, you're still blocking it in, and that's the thing is you're not just like going wild. You're not exactly like drawing like a pencil, but you're still laying in the general structure. And that's the thing, I screw that up. I'll just be like, just dive in, and then I don't measure anything, and then it's a mess. Like you always, at least for me, it's like it helps to start, get in there a little bit, but then to really then focus for a little while and lay things in right, or at least the way you want them. And it's so easy to mess that up when you just get excited about the materials.
I think sometimes I'll find something I want to paint, and I'll draw it, I'll paint it, and it will come out really well and happy with it at the end of the night. And then I'll think, if I had maybe stopped at the beginning and thought about it, I could have come up with a more interesting composition or have created something that wasn't just a pretty sketch, that was more of a finished piece if I had, thought about it. That's a big problem I think I have too. And
that's. Do you know who Casey Bow is?
Nope.
No.
No.
Google it right now.
On his Instagram sometime this weekend there, he's this charcoal, does some really great stuff on there, and has this really weird effect that he does. He takes acetone with the charcoal, and he gets these little like splatter effects with it. But anyway, the guy's pretty famous. There's a bunch of. What's that?
What's their name again? I'll pull up an image of their work.
Casey Bow, but it's like Baugh, I think.
Oh yeah, there it is.
But anyway, Casey or C-S-E-Y.
I think I got it here.
But anyway, he had one of his posts on there this week. On there was a girl on there, and it was like just her eyes on there. And he was talking about, sometimes he thinks that might be the most strong composition that he could actually do, but he can't help but just keep going on and finishing it. And sometimes he thinks he wish he would have kept it on back. So it's like he's been doing this forever. And yeah, there you go. That's his.
Yeah, I got him up here, and yeah, wow, that looks really. So it's sparkle and what? And acetone?
Yes, you can't. This one isn't one of them, but he has some where he does like acetone, and you can see they have the like little bubble effect in the dark charcoal, where it kind of looks almost like a splatter stuff on there. But the whole point is even somebody like that on there has trouble dealing with planning out composition and stuff like that on there, where he says, well, sometimes it probably would have been better if I would just quit, halfway through, and it's a stronger composition, so, sometimes that just gets to be hard to do.
Yeah, that makes
know when to quit,
know when to stop.
That's so hard.
I always gauge when to stop. The time I determine that a painting's done is if I'm working on it and I don't, and then when I hit a point where I realize like I'll put a few hours in and it doesn't look any more resolved. Like it just feels the same. Then I'm like it's done. Like because at that point it's you either have to do something drastic, or you're just like whatever's gonna speak out of this piece has spoken. Like move on to the next one. I'm not always right, but it's the only guide I have so far. I don't know. Yeah, I'm trying to look at his stuff to find. Oh, okay, I think this is a better example of what you were talking about here. Let me quickly do away a picture of that. But that has like the bubble effect and looks like the kind of the acetone washing it away. Yeah, that's really cool.
Around the edge on there, yeah, and I think he does take like a paper towel and he puts the acetone on it and he does the scraping away of it. But yeah, you can see the little white circles all around it on there.
Does it say what surface he works on? Like, what is he on? Like some type of smooth? Is like a panel? Because of paper, I don't know if it. Obviously you can't just wipe that on paper; it would mess up the paper.
No, but I think.
So maybe it's on wood or something.
I'm not sure if it's panel or if it's like a Bristol board or something like that. I don't know.
Could look it up more, but that would require me to.
It takes effort.
This is on YouTube, and I keep meaning to watch it, but it's like an hour long, stuff like that, and I haven't sat through it yet. But he's got great stuff, so definitely want to see it.
Yeah, it's cool. If it's on YouTube, it's definitely be worth checking out. Roger, how about you? Any mistakes you make over and over again?
One that I'm doing right now, and I'm still doing it, is not positioning my arm right. Like, for hours, I just hold it up, instead of putting my elbow down and do. So I've been like holding it up for hours, and then when I go to sleep tonight, this whole shoulder is going to be like a fucking disaster area.
Sounds like you need to make yourself one of these bad boys, one of these little sticks right here, right?
I need that.
Yeah.
What is that?
Where do I get that?
You rest it. It's
a clothing stick?
No, it's like an arch.
I can't remember what it's actually called. But yeah, a malt stick. Well, technically, a malt stick should be nicer. It should be a stick with like a leather end, but I made my own.
Oh, that's
and,
so you canvas?
Yeah, you rest it on the canvas or log it up on the wall next to it.
Lean up against
your arm. And go like that. I don't know why I waited so long to finally use one of these. I used it for the first time on the most recent portrait that I haven't uploaded yet. But it's like, why did I wait so long?
I feel like you could buy Roger one and he wouldn't use it.
Well, it's because you have to make it yourself. You have to take pride in it.
I mean, it's that habit. You got to break the habit of holding your arm in whatever that position is,
That's true.
So get painter's shoulder.
But he should find his own malt stick in the woods.
Sounds painful, man.
Your shoulder's gonna be messed up, dude.
You need some physical therapy.
I gotta stop. You
gotta take care. You gotta take care of that shoulder. Coach says you gotta have that shoulder ready to go.
Ice it.
Icing your shoulder after making art. That's hardcore. That's like art when there's a camera on you and you're jumping around and shit. I don't know if you guys ever noticed that. You ever like film an artist for whatever reason, or see an artist being filmed and suddenly they're like spinning in circles and jumping through the air, and you're like, you totally would never do that. You would never do that. And then, but once the camera's there, everything gets fancy.
That look good.
Look at the steps Jackson Pollock's making. It's like, yeah, come on. You would normally be walking around and probably just drunk and angry and swearing at it, and then it's like put the camera on and it's like you're doing like a two-step around the whatever. Yeah, but them's the topics that were the discussion topics, which goes pretty well. I hope people post more of those in the lounge. They really should, because and
pretty serious stuff.
Yeah, and at the same time, it's interesting because obviously I didn't read a lot of people's feedback because this is still very early, and I don't want to just dive into saying everyone's stuff like without them kind of being aware of it, So in all these discussion topics, there's actually different feedback from different artists, and it'd be fun to kind of summarize and go through them. But I want to make sure that people are cool with that,
Yeah.
But, which they probably would be if you're posting it in a public forum. Technically, I can do it because according to the Reddit rules, you can actually do that. But kept it brief and respectful this time. Well, it's not like it would be disrespectful, but you get the idea. Does anyone have anything else they want to add to anything?
Did you guys didn't do any Inktober stuff, did you? It's over now.
Not me.
I did.
I did a couple of RGDs with ink in them, and I was like, I'm counting it.
Count. Well, I think, yeah, if you do even when that counts.
There was actually a lot of people that did little ink outlines of watercolors and things like that, and I think it was pretty liberal.
Yeah.
Whatever you wanted to consider it.
I don't think it's
It
meant
was the point of getting out there and actually doing it.
Right, just encourage people to.
More so than.
Man, it's pretty fun when you first start out, and then at the end of the month, it's like, whoa. Oof.
Drag on.
Mostly, I was just getting it was a case where I was motivated to do stuff on there, but it was like, but I don't want to do it in ink, It was like, I want to do it in charcoal, or I want to do something else, and or watercolor, So I was definitely fizzling out at the end of the month. I think the last week I did 2.
That's the hardest part, keeping the momentum.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I ordered some awesome ink, and it arrived November 1st. But I have it now, so.
Well, I ordered another set of pens on there, but I didn't have to break them open. But I thought I got that at the end of the month too.
Next year, man.
That's all right.
Next year.
Still using them.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
All
Done.
right.
Fucking done.
You finished it? Wow, what timing?
How
What
did you
time?
think you were done,
You
dude?
get a live premiere right here, right now, in a low quality camera.
Turn this light on, so.
Reveal his identity. That's what's even better.
Nazi Benga!
Damn! That was bigger than I thought it was going to be.
Huge.
That's cool.
Dude, that looks great, man.
Is that background acrylic?
Get
The
up.
black looks nice.
Oh my god. Get up in.
It's all acrylic, right?
It is all acrylics, bro.
Nice.
Really?
In the handles. My first ever acrylic painting. I got a little overly ambitious on this one. I was like, hey, first one. I'm just trying out a brand new method of painting, a brand new medium. I'm gonna. What did I do? A giant thing with like 6 hands.
Yeah, why not? Go easy on yourself, you know? Yeah, just start something easy. Let's do hands everywhere. They're only
Dude,
very...
Well, that's what people say. You know, hands are easy. So
All you needed was some bracelets made of ears, and it would have been super easy.
hands are so easy. Oh my god, I love doing it. Who doesn't love doing hands as an artist? Right? It's like our favorite thing, right?
Yeah. Hands are super fun. They're super easy and not complicated, and they always look like they're the right size and proportion.
Always. Yes. I did it, you guys.
Are you gonna do more acrylic now? Or is that
Possibly. I'm gonna take a break
No, dude, you started.
out of me. I'm gonna,
The next one should be like all.
watercolor brush.
What that thing, like 20, 30 hours? 40, 50, 60, 80?
Jesus, like three straight days of like 8-hour shifts.
Yeah, right. Feels good, huh? That's the jam.
Wait till she gets the bill.
Then you're gonna be all scared and super protective of it because you invested so much time in it.
Wait till she what?
Wait till she gets the bill.
You're welcome. Here's the bill. I thought that we did get it. What? Man. That's awesome. Congratulations.
It's one of those. It's just an RGB. What the fuck? This is an RGB.
We gotta post it in the lounge now because technically you put it in RGD and then you also put it in the lounge because it's been so long since the post. It's been buried.
Oh really? Do I have to do that?
More lounge posts. Woo!
Was that like 18 by 24? How big was that?
Pretty sure it's 18 by 24. Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Same size as this one, which is 18 by 24. So.
Are you gonna frame it and hang it?
I don't think I'm gonna frame it. I mean, it's canvas, so it doesn't need a frame, right?
No, I mean it doesn't have to. Is it just a thin canvas?
Yeah, it's
Usually,
just a thing.
thin canvases you can frame it, but you don't have to. You just throw a wire on that bad boy with some little of the eye screws in the back. Put a wire through it.
I was planning on putting it in a closet for looking. That's what I was.
What? That's ridiculous. That thing should be on the wall behind you.
I hate having my art up on the wall. I really do.
It's covered. Your wall is covered in art.
Yeah.
The wall behind me. So I don't have to look. And that's only because I don't have room, and I don't have anywhere to put that shit. Like
Yeah.
My closet's full.
It's stacked.
Everything's full of art supplies. Click this shit. I got nowhere to put shit.
Oh, it's filling up, dude. It's filling up.
Like paints. We got canvases, jars to put paint in.
Yeah. You don't have any mineral spirits sitting there in open containers, do you?
Not in an open container.
Okay, good. As long as it's. Well, you just don't want mineral spirits and solvents to be chilling in your room if it's not sealed and closed.
For the art or for your brain?
For your brain.
Got it.
And your nervous system. Open a window every now and then just in case. It helps.
Smell.
Yeah, you gotta have the art up on the walls, man. I've just started doing that. It feels pretty good.
Looks good.
Unless I hate the piece and then I never want to see it again.
But then it's already been destroyed anyway, so.
Burn it.
Yeah, I would smash it if I didn't like it, so it wouldn't exist.
It's just like all I want to do when I see this shit that's in a frame already is like rip it out of the frame and fix it. I'm like,
Dude, no.
like that.
That's the hardest right there.
I think that.
You see it,
That's a common. Nobody likes their art, right? I mean, don't you always nitpick it when you're done? Doesn't everybody do that?
Absolutely.
I mean, that kind of goes to that guy's question that we talked about a million years ago. When you come back to art and you're like, oh, I'm shit. It's like.
Do you ever get to a point where you forget about it, though?
Do you?
You come back to a piece you did like 5 years ago and you don't notice all of the mistakes, or do you still?
It's fun when you completely forget it existed, and then you find it, and you're like, oh my god, back! It's back in the brain now, like it's back in the picture. There it is. You look at it, shit, total shit. Embarrassing.
That's why I forgot
my
about it.
early RGDs, I'm just like, oh my god. Like, I thought I dove in, like, oh, this is pretty sweet, you know, and now I look back at those old ones, and I'm just like, oh, and that was only, oh my god, I guess it was about 2 years ago, but wow. But it was, you know, that's still, that started January last year. But then it's like, you look at it, and you're just like, well, damn, glad I practiced, you know. Exciting. All right. I'm gonna slappy. It's time. It's not Slappy Sunday, but I'm ready to go hit up the local.
I
to do some grinds.
Wrap this up before we turn it into the train wreck of last week.
What happened last week? What was so bad about last
It was
week?
just really unorganized. We just did it because we had to, and there was nothing to. It was just a mess. It was a complete mess. But you know, this one's back on track, and it really helps when the topics are in the lounge. We got to encourage people to do that more. We can get more people talking, and etc. Huh.
How do I take a picture of this?
Oh shit, dude, that's a whole thing. Okay, there's a lot of black in there. That's gonna be hard. What kind of camera are you using?
My phone.
Ooh. Okay.
For the Samsung Galaxy S3 camera, if you want.
I spent so much time this painting here. This one. Hold on. It's varnished black. Getting this. See how much glare is on it already? Like just trying to show it to you guys right now. Like let me look at the screen here. So it's like here's the impersonation of me trying to get a photo of it. What if I have it over here? Damn it! What about over here? Damn it! What about over here? Damn it! Damn it!
What'd you do? What's the answer?
Well, what I finally normally I'm in the studio and they have skylights there, and I can get it under a skylight and it's fine. But then there'd be skylights further in the building that are blocking it. So I finally cornered myself so there's no skylights, and I had to light it with just halogen lights, which normally I would never do. But I have my white balance card. And the thing that's cool about halogens is it actually makes the oil paint look really nice. It's not like natural light per se, and it won't be completely even light. But I lit it under that, and really, if you want a photo of like a shiny black painting, you almost have to have a bunch of, ideally, you would have black felt behind you completely, so nothing's reflecting, and it would probably be on a black surface with the light being kind of steeply above it and very even on it. Because the further it comes back, the more it's going to just reflect right off the surface. Anything behind you, it reflects. Obviously, I didn't have that, so my photos weren't very good. Like, I wasn't happy with it. I want to go back at night and try to, like, it was actually reflecting. It was on an easel because I couldn't put it on a wall, and the bottom of the piece was reflecting the bottom of the easel, just like a mirror. And so I want to go back at night and try to just shoot it with all halogen lights. That's kind of what I did with the other piece, and it helped. But yeah, no, that was a nightmare.
Well, I don't think
Roger's like varnish. Huh?
I don't think Roger's gonna have that kind of setup in place.
No, sometimes I would even shoot a piece before it's varnished. So varnish really helps make things rich. It really pops the darks out, but it shouldn't be that hard because there's still most of the center of the image where it would reflect is pretty good. You might have a little trouble, but sometimes just shooting outside in the shade helps. You can get an even light. It's all just trying to avoid that glare is the hardest thing. And if it's not too shiny, it shouldn't be too bad.
I did it.
Use a matte finish varnish.
Though I would say with that black, you use a gloss varnish on there, it's going to look sick.
I had
Take photos of it, and then you maybe consider varnishing it with gloss later, and then you can try reshooting if you really need to, but you probably wouldn't.
I had to take some shots of some black polished granite.
Oh God.
Tile, and it was the same thing you were talking about, but I didn't have a really nice studio. I just had like a few lamps, so I did exactly what you said. I lit it overhead, and then I kind of covered myself in a black blanket, like everything in front of the thing, you know, except for the tiny hole where my lens was black.
Yeah.
And that worked okay. It was fine. It was good enough, you know. It wasn't.
It's like you have to just settle for it. Like, and my studio is just an art studio, so it's just there's just light everywhere. It's a big warehouse with a bunch of other artists, you know. And I used to shoot art at my work because in our basement we had a setup for it, so it was black felt everywhere, and there's black curtains you'd have behind you, and you can make it completely pitch black because it was a basement if you needed to. But then that's not there anymore, so now it's just like trying to not get a glare, and it's just a nightmare. But you know, whatever. Sometimes outside in the shade's good, but anything with black and shiny is just gonna. Anything with a lot of just reflection is gonna be a nightmare regardless.
Okay, I'll try outside in the shade.
There's a guy, as I was saying.
If it's like an overcast day.
Yeah, like cloudy's the best. Like that's why I usually like those skylights because it diffuses the light. If that's a word that I should use. I'm not good with words. That's why I paint. But you know, the light's really even. You're not gonna have cast shadows or hot spots or reflections. That's the main thing. As long as you can get an even light on it, like everything else can be managed. But the hardest thing is getting the even light. We can always try. If that doesn't work, we could always try shooting it in my studio on the wall that I usually try to shoot things on that works okay. You know, whatever. There's also a guy out here who takes photos of art. That's the other thing. If you really can't find it in your neighborhood, get a stack of art and find like lots of photo studios will do it. Lots of artists will have a studio set up just for that because you can make money doing it. There's a guy out here who charges like $80 an hour, and that seems like a lot, but if you bring like 20 pieces, he has a setup and you just stack them, so he can shoot like 20 pieces in an hour. For me to shoot 20 pieces well, it would take like days, so sometimes it's worth it just to pay.
Yeah, especially if you're if it's important.
Yeah, if you spent a whole bunch of time on the piece, like why not? You want a good photo reference of it. You never know what you'll use it for. I have pieces that I regret I didn't get good photos for. You think, oh, it's good enough for online, but what if someone wants to print it in a book, or what if you wanted to blow it up and make larger prints? You know, like there's a million reasons to. Well, three. There's 3 reasons. There's only 3 why you do it, but there are 3 good ones. There's no other ones. Anyways. Yeah. So
there it is.
Good times. All right, people.
You guys take it easy.
Let's wrap it up.
Time to go.
Later.
Jay, drop us off the air. Peace.
Bye.